cartoon-ass music is some of the only music white people can actually dance properly to. I mean, even I don't look stupid dancing to Cajun music. Maybe that's why it was created. Back to the issue, and then it'll be done. I didn't want to waste your time because there are other things I'd like to talk about, but at some point when people go too far and do too much, I have to respond. And so that's what I'm doing. So the question, Michael, why would you go into a gay bar? I didn't. I went into a bar. There are gay people inside. You know why I went into a bar? Let me go ahead and confess. Because there was cold beer waiting inside. Is that a crime? Fact that I'm not afraid of the fact that some of the people inside may be gay makes it a bad thing? Would it have been better if I was at a strip club? Or a Hooters? Or a Billy's bar? Or Jimmy's bar? Or Sammy's bar? Some other part of town that wasn't near my house? Well, if it would, then maybe you should now know. I don't hate gays. I don't fear gays. I don't need to bash gays. Yeah, I know I've repeated that point. Damn it. I've had the word gay bar and my name mentioned 1,000 times over the last week. I'm not stupid. I know what they're trying to do. I've said it on the show constantly. I don't need to run around bashing gays. Doesn't make me feel better about myself. It's not a very Christian thing to do, and I don't understand what the hatred for these people is. I've had gay employees who were my best employees. I've had gaybers who were the best damn neighbors I've ever had. I've never been mugged by a gay person. Honestly, I've never felt my wife was at risk of being raped by a gay person. Honestly. So why that one? Well, to paraphrase the old Cheers theme song, sometimes you want to go where nobody knows your name. I may not be Matt Damon or Brad Pitt, but sometimes I don't want to be bothered. Sometimes you want to walk into a bar, drink a beer, and not be bothered. And I think that horrible video of me drinking a beer and then peeing proves that I walked in and drank a beer and left. Because sometimes you just don't want to be bothered. Okay? Lesson learned. Michael Berry cannot go out to bars unless his wife is accompanying him and he has a driver. I knew that already. I knew that. But ever so often you think, well, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I underestimate how much some people hate me and how far they will go for their little vendettas. By the way, I've been in bars where soccer or kickball was being played on the screens, but I don't like kickball. I've been in biker bars, but I don't own a Harley because I like living too much. I've been in black bars, but, well, I think you get the point. But, Michael, you're an alcoholic. You talk about beer a lot. And going into bars, you're an alcoholic. Would it make you feel better if I said, yes, you're right, I've been beaten up in public. I've been battered in the local news by one station, and the local broke down paper that doesn't have anybody working for them anymore. So let me get myself to rehab as a way to atone. No. Turns out, bunch of hypocrites. A lot of people like a cold beer. Make no bones about it. Some of my favorite music involves popping the lid on a cold beer. I like to drink a cold beer. My brother sometimes comes over. We'll have a burger and eat a beer. Sometimes I like to sit out on the back porch, drink a beer. I am not ashamed of that fact. And if that makes you think I got a drinking problem, then so be it. I think this whole therapy crap over you do too much of this or too much of that, because you know what? I eat too much too. Could you find me a good program for that? And I talk too much too. Could you find me a good program for that? Listen, people, whether I like it or not, I'm a public figure. I'm not trying to boost my own ego. I do that enough. But I also know that every single thing I do can be interpreted by 100 different people 100 different ways. You don't raise your child right. You don't drive the right vehicle. You don't drive the right way. You don't say the right things. You offend me. This offended. Got it. When you run your mouth like I do, when you're a public person and everybody else gets to decide if they approve or not approve. I got that. That's fine. Now to the issue of the crime, quote unquote. I cannot speak to that right now. Oh, Michael! Well, let me explain. It is a potential legal proceeding. I have not been charged. I could be, or I could not. That's not up to me. But I think anybody involved will tell you that this case has had more time and attention paid to it than any of its type in recent memory. Go ask the officers involved in the actual investigation instead of those damn unnamed sources who may or may not even exist, and see what they say. Ask them if this case has been treated like a murder case. Ask them how often HPD prosecutes cases like this. Ask them how often in 2011 a case of what is known as an FSGI allegation, a failure to stop and give information. That's the allegation. Ask them how many of those cases were prosecuted in 2011. I don't know, but I too have some unnamed sources who've sent a little information along that seemed rather interesting to me. Channel 2, why don't you put conservative talk host and gay bar 57 frickin' times in a headline and then bother to go talk to an officer actually involved in the case? When I found out that someone made an allegation against me a week after it supposedly happened, I cooperated with the police 100%. I didn't hire an attorney. I didn't believe I needed to. I went above and beyond what I was asked to do. There is not one person involved from the moment this started who can say I did anything less than 100% and then some to make sure we got the proper resolution. When I was notified of a complaint, I immediately responded. I provided everything I was asked quickly, no delays, no problems. I believed in the system, and I still do. But I can't deal with a legal case in a public media where anybody can accuse me of anything they want. That's not a courtroom. There aren't rules of evidence on a TV show. Anyone can say anything they want, and then it can be repeated by the reporter. As long as you use the word allegation, hell, you can tie me to the Jimmy Hoffa murder. Police reopening. Hoffa murder investigation. Michael Berry, conservative talk host, possibly involved. Stay tuned. Bit more to say on this subject, and then we'll get to the important stuff. I didn't want to have to waste our time on this, but apparently I needed to. For those of you who sent us king cake up here, we thank you. You know who you are. And we know who you are. And you will be blessed. Worry not. So, to the issue of this quote-unquote crime. But, Michael, you got to explain it. You got to give us an answer. There's a liberal in my office, and she keeps sending me this link to this story. And you got to tell me something, Michael. You got to tell me or I'll never listen again. Well, I wish I could, dear. I really do. And I understand you are a nervous Nelly who runs around in fear of the liberal in your office, and that's why they'll always win. But I cannot fight a legal battle in a public forum. It's not a good idea. Anybody will tell you that. You want to make sure that you have fairness and justice. And I believed that was going to happen. And it became clear to me somewhere along the way that not only Channel 2, you jackasses, was there not a cover-up for this case, but that there was the determination to somehow send me to jail for a Class B misdemeanor if they possibly could, and that nothing short of a public case dragged through the courtroom was going to suffice. No amount of investigation, No amount of evidence, no amount of none of it was going to be good until we managed to smear Michael Berry. And we may not can send him to jail for this supposedly heinous crime. We may not even be able to win the case. But damn it, we are going to besmirch his reputation. Yes, we are. Oh, yeah. Believe it or not, I've criticized some people in the past and in the future who have the authority to make my life a living hell. And it's not even that hard to do. Not even that hard to do. When you have certain resources at your disposal, you can terrorize a private citizen. It's not even that hard to do. And then at some point, police officers and prosecutors and everyone else, I think at some point they become frightened for their jobs. I think at some point they become frightened. Man, I'm kind of getting the impression I got to at least charge this guy with something. Doesn't matter if this case is being treated unlike any other. Doesn't matter if we're nailing a guy to a wall. I mean, we feel bad about it. That's what I keep hearing from people. They tell my lawyers, they tell other people, and it gets around through the grapevine. Unnamed sources, Channel 2, that's how y'all like to say it. Unnamed sources tell me, I mean, repeatedly, people in the media calling, oh my God, Michael, I've never seen anything like this in the world. They're not going to stop. They are not going to stop until they get you in a courtroom. It does not matter. It does not matter. By the way, this case was shopped. This case was shopped by people on public payrolls to every media outlet in town. So calling it a Channel 2 investigates is a bit of a stretch. There was no investigation. There was no investigation at all. There was a bunch of well, I can't get into the case, but let's say this. There were things handed over to Channel 2 that I think anybody who looked at it closely would say, whoa, that a lot of other people in the Houston media chose to pass on because they saw this as the personal smear of some radical on-air personality who may not be liked in a newsroom. And they saw it as a cheap shot to go after him. And some people, believe it or not, even in the media, even during sweeps, some stations were mature and sophisticated and had enough integrity to say, let's let the case actually play out. I mean, imagine that. Let's let the case play out. It'll still be here tomorrow before we destroy somebody. This case was shopped by political insiders to all the stations in Houston, and only Channel 2 ran with it. And then the little newspaper carried the fact that Channel 2 ran with it. I know that there are folks with integrity and there are folks with a sense of fairness, even toward their competitors. And in time, I'll be able to name those folks as well, because they deserve to be noted for the fact that they actually stand for something honest. So Channel 2 can tell any lie they want about me. They can do it every day for the next 6 months. They've done their damage. They've had their time. Now they'll have to go back to a mother whose ignition didn't start and she can't get the manufacturer to honor the warranty. Yeah. But there will be unnamed sources. There already are who've contacted me with regard to scurrilous lies, or maybe they're not, about the people who work there. And I suppose in time I'll dribble those out too. But they'll be from unnamed sources. You'll have nothing to worry about. I can't stop what Channel 2 does. And apparently I have better name ID than they do, so it's good for ratings to throw my name up every day. But I will not allow a courtroom to be told lies without me having a chance to respond.